In recent years, fake news has emerged as a significant problem affecting people all around the world. It spreads misinformation quickly, often leading to confusion and fear in communities. Fake news refers to stories that are not true but are shared as if they are facts. This issue dates back to early days when printed newspapers often exaggerated events for attention. Nowadays, with social media, fake news can travel faster than light. It's easily shared by anyone, including your friends and family. Many stakeholders are involved in the rise of fake news. First, there are social media companies like Facebook and Twitter that create platforms where such stories can spread. These companies face challenges in stopping the spread because millions of people share posts every day. Then, there are those who create fake news for profit. They enjoy watching how quickly people react. News journalists often struggle to fact-check and provide accurate information amid the noise of false stories. This issue matters now more than ever, as it affects not only personal beliefs and choices, but also impacts elections, healthcare decisions, and social justice movements. Think about the story of Anna from California. She saw a post on her phone claiming a local health scare was occurring, leading to panic buying in stores. Many families, including hers, rushed to the grocery store, fearing the worst. Anna's community was in chaos, but the news was fake. People like Anna deal with real emotions from such events. Trust in information has weakened, making everyone uncertain about what to believe. This confusion has created rifts in friendships and families, as discussions about news turn into arguments. Fake news can distort reality and deepen existing social divides. Moreover, young people are particularly vulnerable since they often rely on online sources for information. They may not yet have the training to distinguish between true and false news. By understanding the implications of fake news, we can begin to chart a better path forward. Communities must come together to verify information before sharing and support one another in critical thinking. Even simple actions, like discussing news in group settings, can create spaces for open dialogue and learning. It is essential to recognize fake news for what it is and work toward promoting a more informed society. We can reclaim our narratives by encouraging the sharing of trustworthy sources. As the days passed after that chaotic grocery rush, Anna began to notice how fake news affected her surroundings in deeper ways than she first imagined. One evening, sitting at her kitchen table, she reflected on how different families in her neighborhood were coping with misinformation. There was the Smiths, a family of 4 who frequently shared posts about health scares. They had become anxious about everything, avoiding school events and social gatherings. Anna realized that they were trapped in their home, too afraid of what they might learn from the news. The heart of the issue lay in the systems that allowed fake news to thrive. Many online platforms focus on keeping people engaged, showing more of what draws in clicks and likes. They benefit from the number of users staying online longer, often featuring sensational stories, whether true or not. In contrast, the Smiths suffered from rising anxiety, leading to strained relationships with neighbors who didn't understand the basis of their fears. The fake news preying on emotional reactions caused real damage to a once close community. Moreover, misleading headlines snaked through social media and online forums, leading to misunderstandings that split families apart. Take the Martinez family, for example. Amy and Carlos had always enjoyed lively discussions about current events. After reading conflicting articles about an upcoming election, arguments erupted in their home. Each believed they had the facts, yet those facts came from dubious sources. Both felt hurt, lost in confusion over who to trust. The role of fake news in their lives had shifted from a simple disagreement to a serious divide. Anna knew that examining these dynamics was crucial. Policies surrounding online information often miss the mark. There are few regulations on the spread of misinformation, allowing it to thrive unchecked. In many ways, the established systems had made a choice, favoring profit over truth and transparency. Companies profit from clicks and shares, while individuals suffer from a lack of real substance in the news they consume. Feeling compelled to take action, Anna reached out to her friends, hoping to spread awareness and encourage discussions. They decided to host a community meeting in their neighborhood park to talk about misinformation and its impacts. They offered to share stories similar to the Martinez and Smith families, emphasizing how fake news had directly affected people they all knew and loved. The thought of standing in front of her neighbors made Anna's stomach twist with nerves, but the desire for change pushed her to confront her doubts. As she prepared for the meeting, Anna encountered self-doubt. Her voice trembled as she practiced her words in front of the bathroom mirror. What if nobody showed up? What if I fumble my words? These nagging thoughts were debilitating, but deep down, she remembered all the stories she had heard and how the fake news cycle coursed through her community like a relentless current. With each rehearsal, Anna started to understand that her experience mirrored that of many others. Each family held a tale worth telling, facing difficulties not of their making but out of a flawed system that allowed misinformation to thrive. Everyone could relate to fear concerning health, elections, or social issues. It wasn't just about her. It was about a community yearning to reclaim its voice. Taking a deep breath, she resolved to face her fears. She wrote motivational quotes on sticky notes and placed them around her home. Phrases like, "Your voice matters," and "We can make a change together," provided the courage she needed to move forward. Her emotions shifted from trepidation to a sense of purpose. Anna stepped into the unfolding story of her community, ready to help heal the rift created by false narratives. Even if they faced struggles, together they could inspire hope and build trust among neighbors. As Anna and her friends began to spread awareness about fake news, they soon encountered some obstacles that tested their resolve. Many community members were skeptical of change. "Why should I trust you?" some asked, believing that the news they read online could never be wrong. This resistance came from years of being misled and discouraged by false stories. Some individuals clung to their beliefs so tightly that they resisted any call for critical thinking. Social media played a significant role in this struggle. With algorithms designed to show users what they wanted to see, people often felt confirmed rather than challenged in their views. Anna noted this at community meetings. For every person willing to engage in respectful conversation, there was another who insisted that their perspective was the only truth. The divide between those seeking clarity and those settled in suspicion made Anna realize the emotional investment people had in these topics. In the face of such challenges, leaders began to emerge on the local scene. One influential figure was Dr. Sarah Lee, a well-respected scholar and activist known for her work in media literacy. When Anna learned of Dr. Lee's upcoming lecture at the community center, she knew this could be an opportunity for education. Dr. Lee spoke passionately about the need for society to cultivate critical thinking skills. She expressed that understanding fake news required unraveling its roots, turning discomfort into dialogue. During her lecture, Dr. Lee suggested practical solutions for combating fake news. She proposed that schools implement media literacy programs in their curriculums, teaching kids how to distinguish between reliable and unreliable sources. It was a simple, yet effective way to inspire the next generation to think critically about information. Alongside these suggestions, she encouraged community workshops. These workshops could provide adults with tools to navigate news thoughtfully and effectively. Anna could see hope as her neighbors began nodding in agreement. Dr. Lee also emphasized the importance of verifying facts before sharing stories online. She introduced easy-to-use tools, like fact-checking websites, that anyone could access. This not only helped people become better informed, but allowed for a sense of empowerment. As Anna sat in the audience, she felt her confidence swell. Here was a woman who understood the complexities of fake news and offered a planned path forward. However, not everyone embraced Dr. Lee's message. Some community members dismissed her ideas as unnecessary. "I've been reading the news my whole life. I don't need classes," one man argued. Anna felt a twinge of frustration, but recognized it as part of the process. Over time, she hoped they would see the value of building confidence and verifying what they read. Gradually, people began to engage in discussions that sparked connections within the neighborhood. Anna witnessed residents starting to seek out more information from various sources. They even began sharing articles from reputable news outlets at their meetings, focusing on news that promoted understanding instead of fear. These first small wins felt powerful. As minds opened, confidence blossomed. Anna decided to organize a community day of truth in the park, where everyone could come together to share ideas and learn. Dr. Lee agreed to attend and lead a session about recognizing misinformation. The excitement was palpable in town. People were eager to learn from someone they saw as an expert. Anna felt a surge of pride with every conversation and realized that she was part of a much larger movement toward change. While obstacles remained, she found encouragement in the growing engagement within her community. A little spark of hope ignited a fire of curiosity, changing hearts and lives little by little. Anna understood that even the most difficult stories could shift towards a brighter path when driven by knowledge, connection, and a shared commitment to understanding the truth. As Anna continued her efforts to raise awareness about fake news in her community, a turning point arrived unexpectedly. Just as they were beginning to see small changes, a shocking piece of fake news circulated through social media, claiming that a local school was involved in a harmful scheme regarding student health. This false information spread like wildfire, igniting fear and anger among parents. Overnight, the community seemed to revert to chaos. People were once again afraid, questioning everything around them, no longer trusting even the most reliable sources of information. The backlash against the school was fierce. Parents gathered in front of the school, holding signs demanding answers. "Protect our kids!" and "Stop the lies!" echoed as tension filled the air. News crews arrived quickly, capturing the turmoil. Major news outlets began featuring the story, focusing on the outrage rather than examining the facts. The entire situation escalated, leaving Anna feeling helpless in the face of the rising panic. Those who had just begun to engage with the truth seemingly scattered as misinformation gripped the community once more. Dr. Sarah Lee jumped into action. She organized an emergency meeting and rushed to the school to hold a press conference. Anna joined her, heart racing, knowing that this moment would be critical. During the conference, Dr. Lee calmly addressed the crowd. She urged them to look closely at the sources of their information and to take example from their recent efforts in combating fake news. "Let's not allow fear to govern our actions," she pleaded, reminding them of how far they had come and the knowledge they had gained together. Her voice rang strong and clear, but barriers of emotion challenged her. Social media campaigns erupted from both supporters and skeptics in the aftermath. Some rallied to support Dr. Lee and the quest for honest information, using hashtags like #TrustButVerify. Others circulated more rumors among friends, seeing an opportunity to fill the void of distrust, all while further complicating matters. The public conversation had shifted rapidly, with some people calling for more accountability from social media companies and others insisting that they should continue to hold their absolute right to express opinions, no matter how misleading. This intense media scrutiny brought the issue of fake news to the forefront. The public was finally discussing the real danger and consequences of misinformation, but it was a mixed bag. The debate stirred many emotions, and while some folks gained awareness and a willingness to learn how to think critically, others became entrenched in their own beliefs, unwilling to change opinions. The momentum around the school's situation sparked urgency for solutions. More local groups began to form, and Anna became involved in several organizing efforts. Workshops on media literacy became more common in schools and community centers. The demand for actionable changes had reached the ears of local leaders, pushing them to reconsider policies surrounding digital literacy programs. It was both invigorating and overwhelming to see change unfold, but Anna began to feel the weight of responsibility. Weeks passed, and the atmosphere in the community shifted once more. As protests gained traction, including calls for a public campaign to educate people about misinformation, the school finally became a key player, committing to a partnership with organizations focused on truth and integrity in news reporting. This was a win for Anna and her neighbors, a glimmer of hope amid the turmoil. Yet despite these victories, the underside of the discussion simmered with skepticism. Conversations often turned heated. Some community members preferred how things had always been rather than adapting to a new reality that encouraged questioning and verifying information. Anna recognized that this momentum, while striving for positive change, also needed space to breathe. As they faced this critical challenge, Anna's heart raced with the knowledge that the fight against fake news had begun in earnest, and this moment defined how their community could truly unite or be torn apart. Each effort, conversation, and campaign further illustrated what was at stake as they marched toward an uncertain future with a shared intention to make things right amidst chaos. As the controversy surrounding the false news about the school reached a fever pitch, tensions within the community boiled over. A decisive moment came when a large town hall meeting was scheduled to address the growing crisis. Anna felt both excited and anxious. This meeting promised to bring together community members, school leaders, and even local government officials. There would be an opportunity to air grievances, but Anna knew it could also become a chaotic free-for-all. On the night of the meeting, the auditorium buzzed with a charged atmosphere. Parents, teachers, students, and concerned citizens filled the seats, their faces a mix of anxiety and determination. Dr. Lee had agreed to attend as an expert to provide insights, but Anna knew that emotions would be high, and everyone expected answers. As she took her seat, the noise around her faded slightly, her thoughts fixating on the serious situation they had all been dealing with. When the mayor took the stage, the room grew quiet. After a brief introduction, he opened the floor to citizens. The first person to speak was a visibly upset parent. "You've let us down," she shouted. "Our children depend on us to protect them from lies, and now we can't trust the school anymore." The room erupted in murmurs, and Anna felt a surge of fear washing over her. Would the meeting spiral out of control? One by one, voices rose in objection, fueled by anger and pain. They mixed with concern for their children's safety, as fear ran rampant through the room like wildfire. For Anne, witnessing this outpouring of emotion struck a chord deep within her. She saw how easily misinformation could rip apart a close-knit community. These were the very people she had spent time trying to support and educate, yet here they were, filled with doubt and rage. As they reached a climax of anger, Dr. Lee stood up to address the room. She spoke slowly and firmly. "I understand how this has affected each of you. Misinformation hurts. But we also have a chance to change our approach. Instead of staying angry, let's find effective solutions together." Her calm yet steadfast demeanor cut through the chaos, bringing the focus back to the goals they shared. A few community members began to raise their hands, wanting to voice their own opinions, but in a different tone. They were ready to discuss how to combat misinformation rather than fighting amongst themselves. Sensing a shift, Anna felt hope stirring within her. Finally, as the crowd quieted, more people began to offer constructive suggestions about establishing forums for fact-checking and dialogue. Those present began to discuss the importance of community workshops offered by the school to teach students and families about identifying fake news. Emotions began to shift from anger to the possibility of change. It felt like a weight lifted, a breaking point where they could finally see that actionable steps were available. The end of the meeting saw no clear answers, but as Anna left, she felt different. The community felt different. While there was a long way to go, This event sparked many voices. People who had previously felt unheard started talking about their ideas. Social media campaigns emerged from the discussion, sharing not just reassurance, but education about information sources. This moment was a turning point, a point where the community took ownership of their situation. In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere shifted as locals gathered for workshops and discussions, learning how to debunk fake news together. Dr. Lee became a regular speaker, and support for her ideas grew. This newfound collaboration marked a shift in power dynamics within the town. Citizens became advocates for honest communication, taking initiative to demand accountability not only from their news sources, but also from local leaders who needed to help foster a culture of truth. Though the road remained bumpy, Anna recognized that this pivotal moment of insight, of transforming fear into action, fueled a rolling wave of empowerment for her community. They were no longer just reacting. They were leading the charge toward a more informed and connected future. In the days following the town hall meeting, Anna and her community began to feel the effects of their pivotal gathering. Conversations shifted throughout the neighborhood, creating a ripple of reflection and action. Walking through her neighborhood, Anna noticed people engaged in discussions about recent news, sorting through information together. There was a real sense of purpose now, a commitment to rebuilding trust and tackling issues head-on. Anna caught up with a few fellow neighbors over coffee one sunny afternoon. They spoke openly about the importance of seeking the truth and bridging divides. Mrs. Smith, who had once seemed consumed by fear, now shared her hope about how they could foster open conversations. "I used to believe anything posted online," she admitted. "But after everything we've been through, I realize now that we must ask questions. We owe it to each other." This reflection demonstrated how far they had come. With the town returning to its routine, the immediacy of fear had given way to the realization of what it meant to stand together for a common purpose. Anna felt a nuanced change in those around her. Parents, who had once been polarized, now started to unite as allies in pursuit of truth. Dr. Lee had played a key role, establishing monthly workshops aimed at educating everyone, from children to adults. The first event saw an impressive turnout. Participants engaged in exercises that examined how to identify fake news and validate sources. They learned about fact-checking tools, but more importantly, they began to discuss why truth mattered. This moment sowed the seeds of awareness and opened minds to deeper understanding. But uncertainty still lingered. Anna recognized that the world around them didn't easily change. While the local community made strides, the larger issue of fake news continued to loom in the background. Bigger, unchecked platforms still held power, sharing misinformation with clicks and sensationalism front and center. The feeling of uncertainty sometimes returned, and there were plenty of ongoing battles to fight. Community members began to pose critical questions. How would these newfound insights carry on in the broader landscape of media? As they embraced their understanding, they also vowed to take it into their own hands, calling for action to demand better accountability from social networks and advocating for policies that would create a safer digital space. At the next town meeting, Anna stood alongside Dr. Lee as they addressed not just the concerns ahead, but also the successes they had shared thus far. "We've taken steps to educate ourselves and connect," Anna proclaimed with pride. There was a special energy in the room. People were not just talking but activating. They initiated ideas for a local News Awareness Day, bringing together journalists and community organizations to have honest discussions. This unity marked a formidable step toward promising solutions. However, there would always be challenges. Some residents had withdrawn again, feeling overwhelmed by the task ahead. Anna could see the hesitation in their eyes as they weighed their own engagement in this fight. It was a familiar struggle. The journey toward truth could be daunting. Yet those hesitant voices were never whipped into irrelevance. They remained important pieces within the larger conversation, every opinion considered valuable in their shared experience. Ultimately, the impact of this turning point was profound. Amidst the struggles, new collective strength began to blossom. People understood the power they held together. Anna reflected on a profound lesson from this experience. The journey toward truth is not always straightforward, but it is vital. A community committed to staying informed and engaged could create a powerful response. The framework they had begun building would hopefully lend to not just individual growth, but collective resilience. Anna realized that though the challenge was far from over, they had laid exquisite groundwork for future generations. Their successes could lead to tangible, ongoing changes in how people navigate information in a complex world. While uncertainty lingered, their newfound commitment provided hope for a capable community fighting against misinformation, no longer because of fear, but driven by a shared pursuit of truth and understanding, ready to face tomorrow together. In the aftermath of the pivotal town meeting, Anna took time to reflect on the changes rippling through her community. The impact of their collective actions had begun to reshape conversations across different social groups. Families were talking about news at dinner tables. Encouraged by the momentum of the grassroots efforts, many parents attended workshops alongside their children. This bonding experience built a stronger connection centered around understanding the importance of information. Among the impacts, the school system experienced a rapid shift. Educators swiftly recognized the need for a curriculum that offered media literacy skills. Teachers met to brainstorm how to weave lessons on identifying fake news into existing subjects like language arts and social studies. The administration worked hard to implement these changes, and schools across the district announced plans for interactive sessions that allowed students to engage actively with content on social platforms. Local businesses observed the shift too. They noticed that customers and employees, having become more discerning about what to believe in, were less swayed by flashy marketing tactics. Business owners began to think carefully about how they communicated with the public. Some shifted strategies to emphasize transparency and community engagement. Anna's favorite coffee shop started serving local sources, educating patrons about the importance of supporting trustworthy media outlets in town. This shift not only improved customer trust but allowed the cafe to promote a sense of unity. Anna also turned her attention to musicians and artists in her neighborhood. Many were inspired to create works that conveyed crucial messages about truth and accountability. A local band decided to write songs about media literacy, and their lyrics sparked conversations during performances. Anna started collaborating with them, helping organize open mic nights where community members could discuss worries regarding misinformation while enjoying art. These creative platforms turned into safe spaces for sharing thoughts and emotions surrounding the trends they had been navigating. The government also sensed the urgency for change. Local leaders established a task force to collaborate with educators, businesses, and media professionals to craft effective guidelines for reporting accurate information. They sought input on how to improve policies directing online platforms about accountability in what they shared and promoted. Meetings doubled as workshops, and citizens expressed their desire for platforms to enhance their fact-checking efforts. In this way, community leaders banded together, realizing their collective responsibility to protect integrity in information. Despite these promising movements, not everything was easy. Some struggles persisted. Misinformation had not vanished overnight. Many residents felt uncertain about confronting fake news, especially when surrounded by a wave of continual content online. Social media platforms began to see heated discussions flare up again as individuals grappled with differing beliefs. Dialogues could turn sour quickly, but advocates for truth found that they were more equipped to address these confrontations thanks to the workshops they had attended. As news of their grassroots initiatives spread, neighboring communities began reaching out, curious about how to replicate such efforts. They saw the unfolding story and wanted to know more about increasing connectivity and trust in their environments. Anna and Dr. Lee received numerous inquiries, which fueled hope. Facilitating a regional conference to share ideas seemed like the next logical step. If it worked for us, then why not help others? Anna thought, envisioning how news could begin revitalizing other communities struggling with the same issues. In these reflections, Anna discovered a deeper understanding of the intertwined nature between personal responsibility and community support. Each action taken to encourage dialogue, critical thinking, and inclusion accompanied an echo reverberating outward through different social and economic sectors. It was as if they were igniting a hopeful trend that could spice up news discussions on a grand scale, creating an atmosphere where knowledge could flourish and adaptation to challenges would be combined efforts led by the spirit of teamwork. As time passed after the community's intense efforts to overcome misinformation, lasting changes began to settle into the fabric of Anna's town. The discussions that had once stirred panic now became an integral part of everyday life. People began to embrace critical thinking more fully, incorporating it into their interactions with news and media. In the local schools, children were learning to question information, discern between sources, and express their views respectfully. Classrooms buzzed with debates. Teachers offered exercises where students learned not just to consume information, but to analyze and articulate their thoughts. This transformation rippled beyond the school gates. Families started family discussions about current events instead of scrolling mindlessly through social media feeds. At home, parents and children would set aside time each week to discuss news articles, wonder about their accuracy, and even practice checking the sources together. It was heartwarming to see its engaging effects on relationships, nurturing emotional connections alongside knowledge. Local businesses also adapted to the new reality. Employers began emphasizing sincere communication with customers, prioritizing truth over flashy marketing. They shared behind-the-scenes stories, engaged productively with feedback, and focused on building transparent relationships. Community markets flourished as people increasingly sought to support local vendors whose practices resonated with their newfound values. Anna found great joy in witnessing an economic environment that blossomed out of mutual respect and a commitment to integrity. Yet, despite these advancements, tension still lingered within the community. Debates about how information was shared continued, as not everyone had fully embraced the lessons learned. There were still pockets of cynicism and skepticism toward media platforms and public figures. Some individuals felt overwhelmed, reflecting back on how easy it was to retreat into a mindset where they simply accepted narratives without questioning them. Local governance faced significant discussions as well. The task force created to address misinformation had broadened its objectives, identifying gaps in ongoing communications related to broader social issues. They realized some community members needed more guidance and support in navigating online conversations. The question arose, how could they further engage those still reluctant to fully participate in the dialogue without alienating them further? With lessons learned came new discussions. As people grew more conscious of misinformation, unintended issues began to arise. Misinformation was being accompanied by an inclination for overcorrection. Some individuals were dismissing genuine criticism because they feared it would bring about misconceptions. The town experienced a wave of misunderstandings surrounding topics that complicated the original discussion. Conversations about freedom of speech collided with opinions on how to handle harmful narratives. There were moments of heated debate amongst friends in coffee shops or at family gatherings where individuals began to feel as if they must choose a side, confusing healthy skepticism with an approach that was overly strict. Anna noticed that although calls for support intensified, some discussions replaced openness with division. As a result, it became crucial to speak actively about the spirit of dialogue, reminding neighbors that being a part of a healthy community meant listening to varying perspectives. Recognizing these subtle shifts, Anna, Dr. Lee, and others decided to create a balance campaign. This initiative aimed to address how their new learnings could lead to healthy debates without leading to division. Community members were invited to share experiences where differing opinions existed, emphasizing the power of understanding and acceptance. This proved a helpful way to bring people back into a space where they could feel encouraged to engage without fear of alienation. In many ways, the result was an ongoing journey towards deeper understanding. Individuals and communities demonstrated an ability to adapt appreciably each time they were faced with controversial discussions, slowly transforming strife into a tradition built on collective wisdom and empathy. The road ahead was not simple or easy, but Anna found a meaningful optimism growing within her heart. A shared pursuit for truth brought everyone that much closer together, forming bonds that could sustain them through challenges yet to come. As the months moved on, Anna felt a newfound sense of confidence and clarity in herself and her community. The hard work they had put into understanding and combating misinformation had birthed a wave of change that extended beyond momentary shifts. It had become a part of their identity. People were no longer just passive consumers of information. They were active participants in their own narratives. While unresolved challenges still loomed, Anna and her community recognized that true change lay in persistence and adaptability. The lessons they learned became embedded within daily conversations about news, media literacy, and accountability. Local businesses established policies that celebrated transparency, and schools further integrated critical thinking exercises into their curriculums. Anna began collaborating with educators to create interactive resources that focused on applying analytical skills in real-world scenarios. Additionally, the community saw promise in developing partnerships with established fact-checking organizations. By creating a network that connected schools, businesses, and local advocacy groups, they envisioned a dynamic hub for ongoing education. This endeavor provided individuals with continued guidance in effectively navigating the myriad of information encountered daily. Workshops were adapted to encourage collaboration between different community sectors, creating a vibrant landscape where ideas could flourish. With ongoing dialogues fostering healthy exchanges, the people of Anna's town began to expand their discussions of misinformation into broader concerns, such as mental health and civic responsibility. They learned that working through challenges related to truth and trust could directly impact their social fabric. An enhanced dedication to cultivating understanding around diverse opinions began to emerge. This shift contributed to a stronger atmosphere of respect and empathy, molding a more united community focused on shared goals. Annually, News Awareness Day blossomed into a cherished local event showcasing the importance of access to accurate information while also celebrating creativity. Local artists exhibited thought-provoking art about media literacy, and musicians performed songs conveying powerful messages about truth. Meanwhile, community members presented their insights, brainstorming further ideas that motivated commitment to continued improvement. This level of engagement illustrated how diverse perspectives could unite people in meaningful ways while promoting ongoing dialogue. However, Anna and her neighbors were aware that such efforts required sustained vigilance, and they prepared for potential setbacks. Understanding the cycles within media and misinformation became second nature, and community leaders actively signed petitions aimed at greater accountability within social media platforms. They firmly believed in reinforcing rules and policies to minimize the risk of harmful narratives gaining momentum. Having learned from previous challenges, they realized staying informed and sensitive to evolving practices would sustain the rhythms of responsibility they had created. On a broader scale, the dialogue around misinformation shifted the societal lens, focusing on human connections within economic and social policies. People called for policies that not only demanded accountability from media sources, but that also amplified voices from marginalized communities. The challenges preceded fostered innovation. Individually, Anna discovered that she could iterate upon her learning journey without losing sight of her purpose. When approached with uncertainty instead of fear, she found immense strength in listening, strategizing, and uplifting others. This moment revealed how persistent efforts led to not only personal growth, but also grew collective wisdom they could all draw from. The future held potential for Anna's community, envisioning a world where perseverance and progress intertwine magnificently. They learned the significance of creating a supportive space that allowed conversations to evolve without the overshadowing fear of misinformation. Through resolute commitment and mutual respect, individuals reclaimed their voice within society, holding truth as their guiding star while optimistic about what lay ahead. Together, they knew that they had become part of something greater, and their ongoing investments in knowledge and relationships would shape not only their lives, but also impact the generations that followed. In harnessing a culture of curiosity, their broader commitment to understanding could inspire true change in how communities engaged with information in profound ways.